woman that really struggles with emotional control when it comes to manifesting your desires and goals, watch this video because I'm really going to help you break down what is actually going on in your energetic makeup when it comes to manifesting your goals. So as you guys know, in my Lady Balls book, and this is a big part of my work, I have introduced 4 stages of female consciousness. And if you are not familiar with them, I'm going to run through them really, really quickly. There's the basic babe stage, which is the wounded feminine. There is the self-aware Barbie stage, which is the wounded masculine. There is the $1,000,000 babe stage, which is the integrated energies. That's the manifestation portal. And then there's high-end divinity, where you are now contributing to the healing of the planet. So these are the 4 stages. And if you would like to do a deep dive into these 4 stages, I have a free resource for you. It's called my container workbook. You can get it for free in the description box. There's also a free masterclass called Resourceful, which will really help you if you need some of that like masculine energy with the feminine energetics. So when women find my work, it's usually in the self-aware Barbie stage. So what's happening is that they have gone into the wounded masculine. So the wounded feminine, she is below emotion, which means emotions just take over her life. They drown her life. She is always a slave to all the emotions and the feelings. And because she's drowning in the emotions, she has a hard time keeping to her goals and her desires and seeing things through. Okay, that's the basic babe stage. What happened with the self-aware Barbie stage is the wounded masculine, where you've gone above emotion, where men live, which means that there's emotion somewhere down there, but you can't access them. You're kind of like numb to them. And you can survive here for a while, and your manifestations are even good. You just work hard for them. You maybe even sacrifice yourself for them. You abandon yourself because you don't even feel your body. And so you can still manifest here. It just eventually catches up with you because you can't feel the rest of your body. You don't really know what you want or don't want. You're not really like taking care of yourself from the inside out. And so this is where a lot of my clients will come is in the self-aware Barbie stage. Now, what happens with these clients, it's really quite interesting, because as we start doing the deep healing work of like unnumbing their body, like really learning to not abandon ourselves, like really doing deep, deep energetic, physical, somatic, like nervous system, like all the inner work, is about 95% of them will just graduate into the $1,000,000 babe stage, which is where we want to be. And in a minute, I'm actually going to draw this out on my blackboard, and it's going to really, really hit hard, and you're going to understand actually what's happening with the 95% that go on to the $1,000,000 babe stage. But what I've seen with about 5% of my clients and students is that before they get to the $1,000,000 babe stage, they'll start actually go reverse. They'll go into the basic babe. They'll start, instead of like they were, when they came to me, they were above emotion. They couldn't like feel themselves from the neck down. Now what's going to happen is they're going to start integrating their feminine energy. But instead of doing this in a healthy way, they get like overwhelmed with all the emotions. And instead of going through the emotion like the $1,000,000 babes does, they're like drowning in it. And everything is like overwhelming. All the emotions are coming in. And suddenly the things that they value, they're no longer able to do. They don't want to work. They don't want to like work in their business. They don't want to work out. They don't want to do the things that they really value in their life because they're like overwhelmed with all the emotion. And when I point this out to them, they're like, no, I don't want my masculine energy. Like, that's what burned me out. It's like, yeah, but this is burning you out as well. The burnout from the wounded masculine, it's like the energy of it is like drying out, but the energy of the wounded feminine is one of drowning. So just because you were dehydrated doesn't mean you're gonna like drown yourself in water. And so the process here is learning to trust that just because you're adding back in healthy masculine, it's not like you're going to go into the wounded masculine. The tools that you have now, the knowledge that you have, the integration work that you've done and you continue to do, you can trust that now. So just because you were only using your left arm, and I pointed out that you had a right arm, doesn't mean you're not going to ever use your left arm. You're going to do better using both your arms. And so this is a really important integration process of being able to use both of your energies, because we don't want to be below emotion, but we also don't want to be above emotion. We want to be able to work through emotion like the $1 Million Babe does. And that's why she's able to unlock success, not just in one area of her life, but in every area. So let me take you to my blackboard. All right, to really drive this point home, I'm actually going to draw it out for you so you can really understand what might be happening with your manifestations and your life. So the first stage is the basic babe, which is the state of the wounded feminine. Then there's why is it doing it that way? Self-aware Barbie, which is the stage of the wounded masculine. And then there's $1 Million Babe, which is basically braided energies. So this is like wholeness. This is where we've got the masculine and the feminine energy. This is the manifestation realm. Okay, so this is all manifestation. So this is the basic babe. She's in the wounded feminine, which means that she doesn't have enough masculine energy. She doesn't have her inner authority, which I've talked about in another video, which I'll link for you in the description box. The self-aware Barbie is where it's the wounded masculine. So here we've got too much masculine energy. You start manifesting as soon as you get away from the basic babe stage and start going into the self-aware Barbie. The only thing is that, as you can see on this hard to easy scale, when you're going into the self-aware Barbie, you're manifesting from your wounded masculine energy. Everything has a lot of effort in it. Everything is like a lot of doing. Everything, it takes force, and you can absolutely do it, and you should do it. This is a very important part of the process. However, if you keep doing here and you don't like move up the scale, you start feeling like something's wrong. You will over optimize your life. You're going to have a lot of success in one area. Maybe you're like great at your job. Maybe you're great in your business. Maybe you're making a ton of money, but your relationships are suffering. Your body is suffering. You don't feel good. You don't feel like you have a well-rounded life. And a lot of people here will lie to themselves and they'll say, well, at least I have this. Like, I worked so hard for this, and this will be their comfort zone. And so they'll lie to themselves and keep saying it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But really, a fully successful life is well-rounded. Like, we want to be feeling great in our body. We want to have our dream relationship. We want to have a good relationship with friends and family and community. And we want to feel passionate about life. Like, a full rounded experience is very important. We just don't want, you know that saying that they were really poor, all they had was money. Like, money feels really amazing when it's like combined with everything else, right? Like when you have a successful life. So when a self-aware Barbie finds my work, she finds my YouTube channel, my books, my courses, she starts integrating her feminine energy. She starts remembering what it felt like to be in that raw energy, to be in that like feeling state, to have access to her body and her feelings. And for a while, instead of like moving here, some people start moving here. And what happens if they start moving here is they're feeling really amazing for a while because now they've got their feminine energy. Things are feeling easy. But how I know that they're not moving here and they're moving here is that there's the areas of their life that they had achieved working really, 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 really hard start falling apart. Meaning suddenly they don't want to go work. They want to quit their job. They can't get the same results in their business. They start getting pudgy in their body. They don't want to work out. There's so much in their feelings that they're like, instead of adding the feminine energy and like healing the wounded energy, they're now getting into the basic babe stage. And this actually happened to me. When I found feminine energy, when I started doing all of this healing work, there was this period of my life where everything was feeling amazing. To be able to feel my body from the neck down again, to be able to be in touch with my emotions and feelings, oh my God, that felt amazing. And suddenly I started gaining weight and some of my RA symptoms started feeling like they were coming back. I was losing motivation because I just wanted to just be in my feelings. And your feelings aren't committed to your devotion. Like your feelings aren't always committed to your passions, right? Like they're not always committed to your values. They can derail you. And so what I have with my clients, they'll come in self-aware Barbie, and some of them will start like integrating the $1 Million Babe, and they'll have their masculine energy, they'll start healing it, their natural feminine energy comes in, and they're moving forward. And then there's some people that I'll see them going over here. And how I know this is they'll start becoming overly emotional. They'll start going down this path of like they don't feel like doing any of the things that are actually their core values. And I'm like, hey, stop right there. What happened to your masculine energy? Oh, well, I don't want to go into my masculine energy again. Why not? Oh, because that's how I burned out. Yes, when you didn't have these tools, when you didn't heal. And so what I teach them to do here is start trusting their masculine energy and themselves again. That no, masculine energy is not bad. That's what basic babes say. That's why they have no results in their life. Masculine energy is not bad. Too much of it puts you in the wounded masculine. Just like too much feminine energy puts you in the wounded feminine, the zone of no manifestations. So why is it that from the wounded masculine feminine you can't manifest, but you can from the wounded masculine? So as women, no matter what happens, we're always going to have some of our feminine energy leaking through. Even when we're really numb, even when we need a lot of inner work, it's always there. So when we add masculine energy on top of it, we're going to start seeing manifestations. And then when we go too much in the masculine, we're going to be in the wounded masculine. The feminine energy part is still always there. And because of that, it's easier to attract even as a self-aware Barbie than it is as a $1 Million Babe. I'm sorry, as a basic babe. What happens with the basic babes is sometimes they will manifest a few things through someone else, and they will suddenly start thinking that they're $1 Million Babes. I've had some women show up in my community thinking that, calling themselves $1 Million Babes, and I notice a pattern that all of their stories revolve around that one time way back when they had manifested it all. And so when we start coaching, it's like, well, what happened to all of your manifestations? Oh, well, my man left and he took everything with him. So it's like, okay, so it was all of his manifestations that you got to have, like his wounded masculine, attracted to your wounded feminine, and you got to have these manifestations to borrow for a while. But when he walked away, he took everything with him. So that does not make you $1 Million Babe. That puts you right back over here. That's why having our own inner authority, having our own masculine energy is so important. To be quite honest with you, I would much rather be a self-aware Barbie than a basic babe. Because this is going to open you up to all kinds of predators, and it's just a very powerless state, and I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. This is a burnout state, but it's so much better. You still have power. You still can bounce back from things. You still have trust in yourself. You still have your education, your skill sets, your willpower, your grit, your resilience. So I love working with self-aware Barbies. So what we start doing is we realize, yes, you will manifest through this. And the hardest part often is to let go of manifesting here so that you can manifest the easy way here. But it's hard because you're thinking, but I'm already manifesting here. I don't want to let it go. It's like, yes, you can still manifest here. It's just going to be a lot easier on your body, your soul, your relationships, your life, and everything will feel good. It's going to be way more well-rounded. So let's talk about the next thing. Let me erase all of this. Okay, so let's talk about the next phase. Let's talk about the pendulum swing, just to really show you guys what's really happening here. So this is healthy manifestations. Okay, so this is like your $1 Million Babe. Everything is integrated. This is wounded feminine. This is wounded masculine. So when my clients come in, they're in the wounded masculine. When they start healing, not all of them, but some of them will go here, and a big chunk of them will go here. When you go in the healthy $1 Million Babe, the integrated feminine and masculine, You're manifesting using both your masculine energy and your feminine energy, and you feel good, and it's a full rounded, like you're not sabotaging one area of your life to have something else. You're not sabotaging your health to have money. You're not sabotaging your relationships to have your career. Like it's a full successful life. Women who go here in the wounded feminine is when that they can't trust their masculine again. They're like, no, 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 when they'll come overly emotional, I'm like, okay, we need to put aside your emotions for this. Like, this is business. We want to be like $1 million babe. We're going to work through the emotions. They're like, no, 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 I don't trust my masculine energy. Like, that's what's going to cause burnout. But now you're not going to be able to manifest anything. Like, that's too much feminine energy. Too much feminine energy is addiction. It's laziness, it's selfishness to the expense of everything else. So an example of this might be a mother that's so into her own self-care that she neglects her children. That's wounded feminine energy. Wounded masculine energy is so much control, so much grit, so much hard work, so much effort that you neglect your body. You abandon yourself, and then you over optimize just one area of your life. So the ultimate goal for us as women is to get into the $1 million babe when you're able to use your masculine energy and your feminine energy in a way that gets you the results that you need. This isn't a competition about who can be the most feminine or the most masculine. It's about how you feel in your life. Do you feel successful in your marriage? Do you feel successful as a parent? Do you feel successful in your business or your career? Do you feel good in your life? Do you have a good relationship with yourself, with God? Do you have a good relationship with your community? That's what we're trying to get to, a well-rounded life. So what I don't want in my life is that one aspect of my life is like 10 out of 10, and then the other aspects don't feel good. I don't want my life over optimized for one area or two areas. I want to have a full life where I feel really amazing in my romantic relationship, in my parenting, in my business, in my friendships. And that is going to happen by integrating both of the energies, not over optimizing for one. And so I think that what's happening right now is a lot of people that actually need masculine energy, inner authority, the ability to put their emotions aside and show up for themselves and for life. They keep watching feminine energy content and they're going further and further. So when a basic babe shows up, okay, she's already in the wounded feminine. She watches feminine energy content and she's like getting more and more in the wounded feminine. She's getting even further away from her manifestation. As I showed you in the first chart, she's actually, the manifestation portal started here. She's getting further away from it. She's resting more. She's getting more addicted to her suffering, more addicted to gossip, wasting time, being lethargic, and then saying, I'm so feminine. Why am I not attracting anything? And for small moments, someone might show up in the wounded masculine. There might be some chemistry, some trauma bonding, and you'll think you manifested things, but it was all through him. And the minute he walks away, it's all gone. You've got nothing to show for it in your own life. In fact, he's going to be more successful because he's taken some of that wounded feminine energy, because even wounded feminine energy feels good for some men in the wounded masculine. And so the goal is not to be overly feminine. It's to be integrated and healthy and happy and get the results that we desire from our life. I think a bigger conversation that also needs to happen is a lot of people, I think, are doing feminine energy work just to attract a man and not because they want to attract the life of their dreams. And so what it looks like to just perform feminine energy to attract a man is actually more in the wounded feminine versus like actually doing the inner work from the inside out so that you end up creating a big life experience. And again, it goes back to the pendulum swing. Either we're like changing our entire lives and pretzeling and performing to attract a man, or we're on the other extreme where you hate men. But in real life, we don't want to be like stuck on this pendulum swing. Like, I get it. Like, I'm an obsessive person with most things. So it's really interesting when I find something new, I'll get obsessed with it. And so my husband says that you do this like pendulum swing where you go in the other like extreme, and then you'll go in the other extreme, and then you do the pendulum swing until you find your sweet spot. And that's really the key. What I see right now is, either people are really pretzeling and performing to attract a man, or all men are bad and I hate men and I'm just going to live by myself. But like, that's not healthy. That's not emotional intelligence. Like, most women want a full life. We want to be in our dream body. We want to feel good in our body. We want to have a good spiritual connection with something in life, whether you call it a higher power, God, the universe. We want to feel cherished and adored and romanced and secure and strong and robust in our marriage. We want to have a healthy, happy union, friendship, mentorship relationship with our children. We want to have community and friendships. We want to feel good in our business or career. We want to add to life. That's what most women want to do. We don't want to over optimize for one area. And in order to do that, you cannot just live on extremes of the pendulum. That's just not what life works like. That's not a healthy life. Trust me, after coaching tens of thousands of women worldwide, I'm telling you that most women want the same basic things. Even if they're saying something different, it's because they think they can't have it. So they have to like shun it. Most women were designed, we're wired to want a relationship, to want to feel good in life, sharing our love and our life with another person. We want to have healthy relationships and friendships with our family members, community, girlfriends. We want to feel good as a parent, that we're like really creating this bond, right? Like, we want to give back to society through our passion and hobbies, our business and career. That's what most women want. That's what most men want too. We want to feel like we're a part of something. We want to belong. That's not going to happen on extremes of the pendulum. And this is why that inner work is so important. And this is why people like me, we continuously do inner work. I've manifested everything and more that I've ever wanted in my life, all of it through inner work. And I continue to do so because now in the fourth stage, high end divinity, I want to make sure that my legacy lives on. I want to make sure that I make a lasting impact on this planet beyond just my life. I know when I was like more in scarcity, meaning I was just trying to survive, it was all about just survival for me. And then when I had my family, it was like, okay, I want them to do well. I want to pour into them. I want them to have something. I want to leave them with something. And when I was able to fulfill that, it was like, okay, what can I leave beyond just me? Like, if you really think about it, in 3 generations, anyone that you've ever known or has ever known you is no longer going to be on this planet. Everyone that you know and love in 3 generations will have be gone. The only thing that will be our lasting legacy and impact is the impact that we created that moved generations. And I know most of us are not even there yet because we're so much in our survival. That's really like the high end divinity stuff. But this requires inner work. It requires leadership, and information is not inner work. Information is from the neck up. Embodiment, inner work, is from the it's inner work. It's from the neck down. And so, as much as I know you guys enjoy, watching my content, I really want to invite you into taking that first step, into like really showing up and doing the work from the neck down, like really changing your beliefs, really changing your state, really rewiring yourself in the way that actually bring results versus just collecting information. That's like, I think people now are like drowning in information. Definitely, if you're new to my work, grab the container workbook. It's absolutely free. Get the free resourceful workbook, the masterclass, and then I have some offers that I'm currently enrolling for that are live and fresh and new and start next week that I'll post in the description box. Let me know if you found this useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.